This is Stan Houston. Interesting ideas. And no loud sounder today. Because, of course, we are coming to the end of a silly sleep-deprived Sunday. That's right. This is the day in which we change times to what is called daylight savings time. And most of us have had a little bit of adjustment time, a little bit of difficulty, and perhaps it might continue for a little while. And so I was just going to kind of take it easy because I've been thinking about how we can maybe do a little bit better this week, because it was a little bit of a different day. It always is. So let's talk about what was different and perhaps what we can do differently. I'm Stan Houston. It is a Sunday night, and this is Interesting Ideas.
He careth for you when the worries and cares of your life seem to block out the rays of his light. Never forget, never lose sight, for he careth for you, for he careth for you.
Yes, I did begin by saying Silly Sunday, because more and more I think it's becoming clear to us that this ritual of turning our clocks ahead sometime in March, when it obviously isn't summertime yet, in many cases not even close, and then waiting another 8 months before perhaps we fall back. It's a custom we've gotten into, and of course there's all kinds of reasons why we did it, but some of them aren't terribly relevant anymore, but it's oftentimes hard to change. But I do know that there are people who are now saying maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to stop doing this daylight savings time, or this change of time day on a Sunday in March. So here's just what I happened to catch up on today, and I thought I would share it with you. Someone wrote, and her name, I shouldn't say her name, I don't know, Deepa Berman, and Hiran Muzumdar. Deepa Berman, Hiram Muzumdar. Don't know anything about them except that they wrote an article for NPR. And there's a picture there of the clocks, about 3 clocks, and it's all kind of framed against these clocks and kind of a barren trees and gray clouds. And here we go. As clocks march ahead and daylight savings time begins this weekend. See, they wrote this a few days ago. You may be anxious about losing an hour of sleep and how to adjust to this change. Well, we've gotten through it, but here's what they said, and I thought it was rather fascinating because it still is going to affect us. You see, even though it's technically just 1 hour loss due to the time change, the amount of sleep deprivation due to disrupted sleep rhythm can last for many days, and often throws people off schedule, leading to cumulative sleep loss. That means you're not going to just lose it, or you lost it today, you're going to keep losing it. Many studies have demonstrated that there is an increased risk of heart attack, stroke, and high blood pressure associated with sleep deprivation. Workplace injuries increase, and so do automobile accidents. Adolescents often find it harder to wake up in time to get to school, and may have difficulties with attention and school performance, or worsening of mental health problems. And obviously, with the shape that our children are in these days, That's not a small thing. Is there something we can do to help deal with this loss of sleep and change of body clock timing? Well, of course, there is, and that's what the article is all about. And I thought I would just talk a little bit about what that might be. I made a point of setting the clocks, not for me, because I'll do that later, because I get up real early. I'm usually up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So that's when I wake up. And the reason I wake up at that time is I oftentimes go to bed before 9 o'clock. So I can still get my 6 to 7 to 8 hours of sleep in. And that just happens to be the schedule I'm on. But I told my wife, who is on a very different schedule, I said, well, I'm going to go to church tomorrow. And obviously remember that it's an hour early. And she just simply smiled and said, okay, good luck with that. I'm sure you'll do fine. I'm not so sure what I will do. So we went to church, and there were a lot of people who weren't there. In fact, what the church had done is that, there are 4 sets of pews. They literally roped off the side pews so that everybody would have to sit in the middle 2 sets of pews, because they knew that there would be a lot less people in church on Sunday. And you know what? They were right. It was a rather small gathering. And of course, the pastor made a point of when he introduced the announcements of the day and the greeting of the day, he said, well, I know today I'm greeting a lot more of you online than usual, and we're glad that at least you can make it with us that way. So that did happen, and the weather didn't cooperate in many cases with people, at least in the United States. It was kind of a gray and drizzly day in many cases. But we'll get up to it. Now, this is new for me because for the last 15, 16 years, we lived in Arizona. And Arizona has been one of the 2 states, Hawaii being the other, that resolutely has defied going on daylight savings time. They just don't do it. Stays the same. You know what? It works out just fine. And of course, there are a couple jokes they say about it. For instance, they may say, well, we are known as kind of mavericks. So here in Arizona, we're that way. And if everybody else is going to go on daylight savings time, we're not going to. And then, of course, they play on the fun part that we have a lot of sunshine in Arizona. In fact, we lived in Tucson, and Tucson has the most sunny days of any place in the U.S. a year. You'll get sun at least around 300 times a year. And so the joke is, we don't need to save any sunshine or daylight. We have plenty of it to spare. So why do we need to save any? Well, there we go, and we'll get over it. And there may be, as there is, there will be another bill, I guess, coming forward in the United States Congress, which will say, let's put an end to this. We have enough things that are important to worry about without changing the time. Well, the people who are those wonderful people who wrote this little article said, here's what you need to do. You have a sleep debt. Okay, ensure if you are particularly a parent, you have a child, make sure that both of you now get adequate sleep regularly, and keep doing so. So make a point, again, go to bed earlier. Just make a point of that. Go to bed earlier, and then rise as natural as you can. Now, this is something for, put your children to bed 15 to 20 to 30 minutes earlier if you can, and keep doing that for a few 4 days, before and after if you can. And then try to wake up at your usual time as best you can, but also keep in mind that you have to be ready to deal with that. They say use light to your advantage. Now, part of the problem is, of course, when I went out for my morning walk, I usually go around 6:15, 6:20. Well, it was dark out now, and so I had to wait a little bit later. But they point out that as soon as you can get either into the light or make light, actually turn on a bright light after you get up, or at least make sure you have a light. That would be a very important and helpful thing. The more light you can get into your body, the more it will actually help. That makes sense. So that was what they said. Pay more attention to what you eat and drink this week. Just be aware of that. Keep your fluids up. Try to eat a little more moderately and modestly. Please keep in mind that you're going to try and get your exercise, but remember your circadian cycle is off. So maybe ease up a little bit on your exercise for the next few days, and just try and eat a little more moderately and some healthy ways. That just might help. Pay attention, at least for this week, as best you can. Then, and this really got me, I said, here's what they said. Be especially gentle with yourself and the kids. Be especially gentle with yourself and the kids. And I thought, why just now? Here it is. One of the ways that we can make this a super silly saving day Sunday. In fact, there was a joke on the radio that said, hey, on this station, it's always standard time. And of course, that was the music they play are the old-fashioned standards. The music on this station is always standard time. So here we go. Be especially gentle with yourself and with others, and particularly with the kids this week. We are all a little bit off in our sleeping times. It'll take a while to adjust. Again, it was perfectly stupid that we did this, but we did. Now, just take a little more time. Be a little more forgiving, a little gentle. Go easy on yourself and go easy on others, and particularly with the children. There we go. Good advice for a super silly savings time Sunday. And you know what? Probably some good advice, good advice for many days. I would also add to that, just use this little extra time in the evening to say a prayer for those people who are struggling in many ways. As I point out, one of the prayers that has got me connected lately is to pray for those people who right now, their life is not what they want it to be. By the way, if your life is anywhere close to what you want it to be, give deep and profound thanks. But remember, there are just a whole lot of people whose life is not what they want it to be. For a variety of reasons, and perhaps it would be good for us to think about them, be kind to them, say a little prayer for them, and if you're reasonably close to that kind of life that works for you, be thankful. Be thankful. And use the time that you save wisely. I'm Stan Houston. Thank you for listening to Sunday Night. I wish you all the best and blessings for this week. We've got a lot of things ahead of us and a lot of good things that we're trying to do, and I hope the same is for you. I hope you do have a lot of things that you get to do. I even hope you have a lot of things you've got to do. And I hope you have a lot of opportunities and things that you want to do. And that will fill your week with good times, good energy, and it will be a good post-Sunday savings time day. Maybe the day may not have been so good, but the week after might be blessed. All the best and blessings to you. Take care, and bye for now.